Top 10 Places Not to Travel in Africa. Welcome back to the channel. Africa is a continent full of breathtaking landscapes, vibrant cultures, and historical wonders. But like anywhere in the world, not every city is ideal for travelers. While many places across Africa offer safe and memorable experiences, there are some cities where security risks, political instability, and ongoing conflicts make them dangerous destinations. In today's video, we'll be highlighting 10 cities in Africa that you should avoid visiting in 2024 due to safety concerns. Whether it's due to terrorism, crime, or civil unrest, these cities currently present serious risks for tourists. So, if you're planning an adventure across Africa, make sure you watch this video to stay informed and keep your travels safe. 1. Mogadishu, Somalia. Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, is a city with a rich history and an incredible location along the Indian Ocean. Once known for its vibrant culture, lively markets, and beautiful coastal views, it has unfortunately become one of the most dangerous cities in the world. For decades, Mogadishu has been at the heart of a civil war, with violent clashes between government forces and the militant group Al-Shabaab. The result? Frequent bombings, shootings, and other violent incidents that make it a high-risk area for anyone, especially tourists. While there have been efforts to rebuild and stabilize parts of the city, the ongoing threat of terrorism keeps Mogadishu on the no-go list for travelers. For tourists, Mogadishu poses serious risks. Foreigners are often targets of kidnappings, bombings, and violent attacks. Unfortunately, even in areas under government control, the presence of armed groups and the unpredictable nature of violence make it incredibly unsafe. Add to that the fragile infrastructure and limited emergency services, and it's clear that visiting Mogadishu isn't worth the risk right now. Until the security situation improves dramatically, this is one city you should steer clear of. 2. Bangui, Central African Republic. Bangui, the capital of the Central African Republic, is another city that travelers should avoid due to ongoing instability and violence. For years, Bangui has been plagued by violent clashes between armed groups, leaving the city in a state of unrest. Despite being home to beautiful rivers and rich cultural heritage, the constant fighting has led to a lack of basic services, and the risk of armed attacks, looting, and kidnappings remains high. For tourists, the situation in Bangui is unpredictable, and even with heavy military presence, safety cannot be guaranteed. Until the political and security situation improves, Bangui remains a dangerous and volatile destination. Tripoli, Libya. Tripoli, the capital of Libya, is a city with a fascinating history and stunning ancient ruins, but it's currently not a safe place for tourists. Since the fall of the Gaddafi regime in 2011, Tripoli has been caught in the middle of ongoing conflicts between rival militias, making it a highly unstable environment. The city frequently experiences violent clashes, and with the presence of heavily armed groups, there's a high risk of kidnappings, carjackings, and attacks. While Tripoli is rich in history, the current political chaos and the lack of a stable government make it far too dangerous for visitors to explore at this time. 4. Juba, South Sudan. Juba, the capital of South Sudan, is a city that has struggled with ongoing instability since the country gained independence in 2011. While Juba is an important political and economic hub, it's also one of the most dangerous places in the region due to civil war, ethnic violence, and political unrest. The infrastructure is still underdeveloped, with limited access to basic services like healthcare and security, making it difficult for both locals and travelers. Foreign visitors are often advised to avoid the area because of the high risk of violent clashes and the unpredictable security situation. Tourists in Juba face several dangers, from armed robberies and carjackings to violent protests and even targeted attacks. The presence of multiple armed groups and factions in the city creates a volatile environment where conflict can flare up at any moment. Traveling through Juba is extremely risky, with a high potential for being caught in the crossfire or facing roadblocks by armed militias. Until peace and stability are restored, Juba remains a city that's far too dangerous for any form of tourism. 5. Timbuktu, Mali. Timbuktu in Mali is a city steeped in history and once known as a center of Islamic learning and culture. However, in recent years, this legendary city has become a high-risk destination for travelers. Extremist groups, including Al-Qaeda affiliates, have gained a foothold in the region, leading to kidnappings, terrorist attacks, and general instability. The city and its surroundings are still dangerous, with frequent clashes between militant groups and local forces. While Timbuktu's ancient mosques and libraries are a draw for tourists, the threat of violence makes it far too risky to visit right now. 6. Goma, Democratic Republic of the Congo. Goma, located in the Democratic Republic of the Congo near the Rwandan border, is a city surrounded by natural beauty, including the iconic Mount Nyiragongo, but it's also an area filled with danger. Armed rebel groups operate in the region, and violent clashes between these groups and government forces are common. Goma also faces humanitarian crises, with thousands displaced by the conflict. For tourists, the risk of being caught in the crossfire, encountering roadblocks, or facing robberies is high. Despite its proximity to stunning volcanic landscapes and wildlife, the instability and violence in Goma make it too dangerous to visit. 7. Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, was once a vibrant city known for its lively culture and rich traditions. However, in recent years, it has become a hotspot for terrorist activity and violent extremism. Armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS have increasingly targeted the city with bombings, shootings, and kidnappings. The government struggles to maintain control as attacks escalate, making the security situation highly unpredictable. Despite its cultural significance, Ouagadougou is currently far too dangerous for tourists, with the risk of terrorism and violence posing a constant threat. 8. Maiduguri, Nigeria. Maiduguri, located in northeastern Nigeria, is the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency that has terrorized the region for over a decade. Once a thriving city, Maiduguri now faces constant threats from terrorist attacks, bombings, and kidnappings orchestrated by both Boko Haram and ISIS-affiliated groups. The Nigerian military has a strong presence in the city, but the conflict continues to claim lives and displace thousands of residents. For tourists, the risk of being caught in violent attacks or kidnappings is extremely high, making Maiduguri one of the most dangerous places in Africa to visit. 9. Kidal, Mali. Kidal, a remote city in northern Mali, sits on the edge of the Sahara and is known for its striking desert landscapes. However, the city is under the control of Tuareg rebels and Islamist extremist groups, making it a no-go zone for tourists. Kidal has been at the heart of Mali's ongoing conflict, with frequent clashes between rebel forces and the Malian military. The area is heavily militarized, and foreigners face a high risk of kidnappings and attacks. Although its desert scenery is captivating, Kidal's instability and dangerous environment make it a place to avoid for the foreseeable future. 10. N'Djamena, Chad. N'Djamena, the capital of Chad, is a city located at the crossroads of Central Africa, yet it faces significant security challenges that make it unsafe for travelers. With the ongoing threat of terrorist groups like Boko Haram and instability along Chad's borders, N'Djamena has seen rising levels of violence, kidnappings, and political unrest. The government has struggled to maintain control as insurgent activities and protests escalate. For tourists, the risks of terrorism, armed attacks, and deteriorating infrastructure make N'Djamena a city to avoid until the security situation improves. And there you have it, 10 cities in Africa that you should probably avoid traveling to in 2024. Africa is an incredible continent with so much to offer, but safety should always come first. If you're planning a trip, make sure to check travel advisories and choose your destinations wisely. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more travel tips and guides. Until next time, stay safe.